Hello, everybody. Welcome to Footy Abroad. It is Tuesday, the 30th of July, 2024, and everyone lost. Well, only the Blues lost. Everyone else won this weekend. So it's a different kind of vibe tonight. I'm joined by Jake from Saints TV. Hello, mate.
Hello.
And I'm also joined by Luke from Swoop Luke. Hello, Luke.
What's going on, gents? What is going on? Keen for this one.
Mate, Jesse Motlop's 36th game coming up. Unreal. Big milestone.
Huge. He's been a game changer for the Blues, the old Motlop. It's nice having another Motlop running around in it.
It is. Should be a bit of an interesting episode tonight. Jake, no sunnies tonight, mate?
I've got him here, but I don't know. Essendon, more like Essendon. They're done. And I said it last week, Terry, and you said that they were going to beat my boys. Are you off the Essendon train now?
I'm going to lock them in again this week.
Who have they got this week?
Freo at the MCG.
Oh, okay. Well, you've spoiled your lock there, but no, I think the big talking point this week should be Mitch Owens' 50th game.
I'm gonna have to do a
coming up.
sea change.
Oh, he's changing spots.
Oh.
He's not happy, Swoop. Swoop's not happy at all.
The joys of recording from a closet. So
It's a good looking.
Wi-Fi is shit. His Wi-Fi is shit.
all right.
Continue, Jake. What were you saying? Mitch
Sorry,
Owens?
yeah, no. Mitch Owens, his 50th game this week, so obviously that's going to be a major talking point. So 49 very nice games, found some good form on the weekend, and yeah, going all right. You boys must be happy though. Your Carlton and Collingwood and Essendon got pumped, aren't you? Up and about, like you should be as up and about as me. I would have thought.
As a Collingwood supporter, Carlton, Essendon, and Richmond lost this week, so it's a very good weekend for us. But in the scheme of things, it doesn't really fucking mean anything now that we're still 12th. So we've still got to take a little bit of joy from it, but you still need to win the next 4 games, and it's against all top 4 sides. So it's going to be a bit crazy coming up.
Yeah, I've never seen a season go to this point where so many of the top teams, it feels like if you're at the top now, you're struggling, and the teams that are trying to get into the 8 are the teams that are actually in the best form out of any teams. Like the Doggies, we've found some good form. The Hawks are flying. GWS are kind of picking up. So it's flipped a little bit from the early season form, which I guess keeps it interesting for everyone, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think it probably goes to show that any team can win it, even outside of the top 4 this year. That's how close it is.
It's almost as if the game is thriving, and
call that.
it's almost like the league is thriving, and we've never had a more even competition, and it's almost like maybe the game isn't fucked after all.
Yeah.
Who was the biggest loser of the round?
Essendon, I feel.
Yeah.
They had everything to play for. Especially after that Adelaide loss, they had everything to play for. And they just didn't rock up, man. They just absolutely didn't rock up. And that's not to discredit the Saints, because the Saints played amazingly, but when you're what were they, second for like 3 or 4 rounds, Essendon at one point, to now dip like they did last year. Yeah, I'll go back to the first episode. I've said they were top 8 pretenders since then, and they've proven me right. Even though we fucking lost to them, but still, they've proven me right.
Yeah, I think I've said that about Port for most of the year as well, and they kind of proved me a little bit wrong against your blue baggers, because they seemed like they had a bit of guts. You guys were missing players too, but they fought it out. But I guess this is what Port does, right? Port trick you this way, don't they? Like, I don't think, are we all sold that Port are a premiership chance after that game? Terry?
Am I sold that Port is well, yeah, they are a premiership chance. They're as much of a chance as anyone else. I think when it's all said and done, I don't think they'll win the flag. But we'll touch on. I mean, maybe I can just start with what happened with my team this week.
Yes, please do. Please do.
So I think July's not been a great month for the Blues. I think we were, to be honest, just flat, tired, exhausted. Came out in the second quarter, and that was kind of all we had for the game. No generation of energy, seemingly at all, in the second half. Sort of played into Port's hands, who laid 91 tackles. So, I mean, when you get a team laying 91 tackles, it's going to be a tough one. And I think what we're seeing is, Carlton, we're dealing with a new situation. We've been sitting second for a month, and it's a bit of a cushion. And all of a sudden, you got teams that had to win to keep their season alive. So, you go back to the Giants, they were 10th or 11th when we played them. Like, they had to win to start something. They were knocking on death's door, footy terms. The Doggies were the same, sitting 10th or 11th. And, Port Adelaide, they weren't as bad as the previous two, but, had they lost, they'd be out of the 8. So it's, I think it's just a classic situation of learning how to be the hunted. And, I'm not panicking. We were pretty poor in the second half and still lost by 2 goals or just over. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm biased, but did you guys think it was a demoralizing, devastating loss for Carlton? Like, is it over? Are we done?
I think, what did you kick? 7 goals in the second quarter and then 1 goal in the second half.
1 goal in the second half. Yeah.
It's a bit how's it going? But like you said, it was only a 2-goal loss in the end, but it probably should have been a win. It probably hurts a bit, because you want to finish second. You don't want to, even if you finish top 4, you don't want to go fucking interstate to the SCG or the Gabba. That would be, even though you do get a second chance anyway. But I think it was a bad loss. I don't think it was a astronomically bad loss. I don't think you guys have lost it. You got no TDK until finals, and then
I think he's done. Yeah, I think he's going to be done. Yeah, it's a nasty injury.
Season done.
I think so. I mean, he's got a fractured foot. He's a ruck. He's got a. It's tough. It's
But Mackay was against us. So
Mackay. That was the big one. Was like, how was the forward line going to function without him? And it was poor. It looked like if you were going to win, Charlie had to have an enormous game. Like, it looked like the weight of the world was on his shoulders. He had to go up the ground. He had to be the target deep. He had to be everywhere all at once. And when he would mark the ball further up the ground, usually he would swing and go because Harry's there or TDK or whoever, and they weren't there. There were no targets to kick to. So you have to go sideways, chip it around, wait for Charlie to get back. By the time he's back, they can double team him. Max King's had to deal with that his whole career. So look how that works. And it's way more difficult to kick goals. So
yeah,
I wasn't surprised that you struggled to kick goals, but I thought you'd still win. But I mean, it was a tight game in the end, and
I think Harry coming out, I don't know, just
should it have affected you that much?
Well, I think
is that a worry that one player didn't learn another way?
I think Harry's one of the most underrated forwards in the competition, and the reason why I say that is because he allows us to dominate the territory battle on the ground, because his ability to take a contested mark anywhere around the ground forces a stoppage in play, and everyone's got to set up in Carlton's favour or defending Carlton. So we didn't have that. He also pinch hits in the ruck, and we also had Lewis Young had to step in. He's played in defence all year in the VFL, so he's playing a forward ruck role. So I knew it was going to impact us, but I didn't think we would lose the game. I still thought we would win the game. And to be fair, in the first half, it looked good. Charlie looked dangerous. We were kicking to the space in front of him as opposed to the space above his head. We just got beat by a team that was just a bit more hungrier for longer. So I've actually had Carlton fans say it's season over.
Yeah. Fuck, what is up with you guys? Your fans just go to the nth degree straight away.
They didn't throw a scarf on the ground though mid-game.
That's true.
At least you didn't go. There was no spitting in this game, was there?
Boy, you be careful. At least our fans are passionate about our club, unlike your soulless B-grade mob.
Hey, I'm just asking. I'm spitting facts here. Did they spit or not?
No one's
All right,
back.
good. That's all
No
right.
one's back.
That's all right.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's a catastrophic loss. You want to lose these now and get it out of the way.
You want to get it out of the way. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're not losing that. Like, look at Sydney. They've lost their identity completely. Your identity's still there, but you're just missing a few key cogs. You get them back, you'll be all right. So I don't think, like, the way you played didn't change that much. It was just some of the players that were missing were just that important. Simple as that. Yeah.
So that's what happened to Carlton.
Season over, really, people?
Oh man,
can't-
it's like we've had
It's
to
unreal. You're in the top
kind of
four.
like pick people up and just people are scarred. People are traumatized.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it a defense? It's almost like a defense mechanism, right?
Mate, people are cowards. They're too afraid to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're afraid to believe, and for whatever reason, they resort to the line of, "Oh, nah, it's over." Because in the event that it is over and we end up bowing out, they'll say, "I told you so."
Yeah. And then what
it's
does
a
that do?
defense
That makes
mechanism.
them feel good for some reason.
Yeah, I'm almost made to feel a little uncomfortable for believing.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I understand that.
I'm just kind of like, wait till the final siren of the last game of the season before you draw a conclusion.
Yeah.
And also people will support and feel the way they want to, but I mean, to say that the season's over after a poor month, well, we haven't we've lost, but I've seen worse.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I'm not copying the trauma anymore. I think you got to get over it, because I think what happened to Essendon is the trauma of their supporters reflecting and manifesting itself onto their playing group and their club.
Yeah. And they're all thinking about last year. They're all thinking about the same end last year, and then it's going to fall away.
Correct. And I actually think I've said this about the Saints supporters and the culture as well. Like, if you start your season strongly and your supporters start saying, "Oh, it's going to be a classic Saints," like that seeps in.
Absolutely.
Eventually.
Yeah.
So
how can you, if you're flying and you're playing good football and your fans are still pessimistic, when can you enjoy football? You have to wait until they're lifting the cup. That's not when you sell. That's the release of all the emotion or the excitement and the journey you've gone through to get to that point. That's not when you're finally happy. You should be happy before that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's that. But I think it's good. I think it's supposed to be hard. I think we're meant to have seeds of doubt. There's meant to be fear. There's meant to be the reality that, hey, you're not just going to coast to a premiership. You're going to be challenged and you're going to be questioned. And I'm up for it. So
yeah, rarely does the top four at the end of the season coast through a season. Really.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to always go through ups and downs. Even when
well,
in 2009, like we lost the last two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We lost 3 of our last 4 as well, you know.
Yeah, there you go.
Last season, so
yeah,
3 of our last 4. Yeah, something like that. And we won a premiership, so you know. But speaking of the Pies,
yes,
we get our win. First post-bye win, which is good. First win since the Kangaroos game. So
first win since the Roos game.
Yeah, because the Roos game was pre-bye.
Yep. Shit.
Yeah, shit in fucking deep.
Did that win, I don't know, make you realize there's improvement, or was it because it was Richmond? Is it hard to gauge?
It's hard to gauge because, I talked about this on my review of the game. Whenever I talk about a game that is against like a bottom side like that, I always feel the need to preface it by saying, I know we only beat the 18th side, or I know we only beat the 17th side, but you still can take things out of it, right? You can still take away that we finally got a win, even though it wasn't a 60-point mauling like, we were sort of hoping for. It was still a win, gets the monkey off your back. Mason Cox comes back. They give more of more game time to Dan McStay. So we're finally kicking to 2 guys that are 2 tall targets that we haven't had because Mychek's been out for a few weeks. And it wasn't the best game. 3 quarters of it was pretty good. It was our best first quarter this year. I think we scored 38 points or something. So that was our best first quarter this year. Lost the last quarter, queuing the rack in the last quarter. probably looking into this week because we had put a 42-point buffer on. So we just did what we needed to do to win. It was just sort of bruise-free footy in that last quarter. Lots more improvements. But the thing is, like, sometimes you need to, even though it was against Richmond, it was against the 18th side, we could see more of our football brand coming through again. So it was the tackles. It was the tackles inside 50. It was moving the ball from half back. It was the link-up play. It was finally hitting fucking forward targets that are over 7 foot. So it was just a monkey off the back win, and it was good that the cogs were finally turning. They're still a bit rusty, definitely.
Yeah.
And this week is going to be, not only is it Pendles' 400th, and and Motlop's 36th game, but like, it's a big game for both of our seasons. Like 6 weeks ago, well, not even 4 weeks ago, you're chalking this up as a Carlton win straight away, and now I'm seeing Carlton supporters saying that this is going to be a statement win. This is a must win. We need this to reinvigorate our season. So it means so much to both. Sides. And Carlton love to spoil a party. Like we played them in the 125th anniversary. They beat us. They smashed us. And there's been a couple of other things that Carlton, because we get the biggest crowd, so they want the biggest crowds there, and they love to spoil a fucking party. So it's gonna be big. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be scary, but it should be fun. Should be good. The pies are coming.
Jake, tell us all about the Saints, mate. They found the killer instinct. They found it.
Yeah, there's something there. Dare I say this is the way Ross had wanted us to play for the entire season, and we're finally seeing Ross the boss and his game plan in full flight, and the boys are relishing. That was our first time in 12 years that we'd had consecutive wins by over 50 points and kicking 100 points in both games. Round 2 and 3, 2012, Jack Nunes' first 2 games, fun fact. That's how long it's been since we've been that dominant in 2 games. And our form guide post-buy has been really good, 5 and 3. Despite where we are on the ladder currently, you can only play the games in front of you, and we're doing a really good job. We've lost by 2 points to Port when we should have won at Marvel, and it was a rainwash sort of game at Adelaide Oval and pretty ugly, and we lost by 20-odd points. So our form's been really good, kicking goals. The forward line is the big talking point, with Sharman, with Machito and Caminiti, all roaming, all being very unpredictable for defences. There's no main target. Similar to Collingwood, I guess, in a way. There's no major target, and they're all constantly moving and rotating up the ground and deep. And then not to mention Member, who's finding some good form. So there's 4 targets there with a couple of smalls, and we're looking good. So I'm excited to see how we go on Sunday against Brisbane at Marvel under the roof. That's going to be hopefully a shootout again. Like
you nearly had him at the Gabba, is that right? Was that a Friday night?
Yeah. It was a Friday night. I was up there. We kicked 106 points. That was the first time where we kind of showed that we have that gear, that we can play that fast attacking football and kick goals quick. And that's the only way to beat a team like Brisbane, because they're always going to kick over 14 or probably over 12 goals, to be honest.
Was that the Liam Henry goal? The Bradley Hill to Liam Henry handball, Liam Henry.
Yeah, and he dribbled it through. It was amazing. Yeah, that's when we got within 7 points in the last quarter. And I think it ended up being 106 to 126. So it was a pretty high scoring game in the end. I dare say we're better now, and they're just as good, if not better, as well. So it should be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's start talking about our topics, guys.
Yes. Can I start?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously there's a lot of talk about Hawthorn, about Jack Ginnivan. We mentioned him last week. It kind of got me thinking about, when in the early 2000s, cult heroes. There's so many players you can think of from that era, right? And I look at it now and I'm like, the game has changed so much. We want players to be perfect people. We, obviously, even suspensions, it's completely changed the way players play, right? And that sort of toughness. So I've gone and looked at Carlton, obviously Collingwood and Saints. And these are like, tell me if I'm wrong, but these are kind of the ones that pop to mind and the research. So obviously Fev, Lance Whitnell's one that I would say is a bit of a cult hero. Armfield apparently came up. Bootsma. Is Bootsma a cult hero? That one I was like, are they stretching that one? But maybe Terry, you can confirm. Is Bootsma a cult hero for Carlton?
For the wrong reason, but yeah.
Okay. Collingwood, these were the main ones that came up. Was Presti was one. Alan Tuvey, the possum, I think is what you call him. The possum.
Yep.
Daisy Thomas. I would put Didak in there. Some people had Dane Swan in there as well. For us, obviously the G Train's the main one and one of the biggest ones. Stevie Baker, Ozzie Jones, Jason Heatley. When we lost Tony Lockett, he came in and was a gun forward. So there's a couple of there, but I'm trying to think now of like, who are the cult heroes in the competition? Who are these types of players? Who's the Fev? Who are the G Trains? I can't, like, thinking at your own clubs and then other clubs, would you say Ginnivan, if he continues on that trajectory that he's going at, would he be deemed a cult hero?
What's the criteria of a cult hero? Do you think?
That's what I'm.
It's not like the best player.
No, that's the thing. Is like it's. I guess it's the attitude of a player too. Like to me, Fev and G Train were absolute guns. Like they both kicked over 100 goals. Actually, did Fev ever kick over 100?
99.
99, and G Train did 105 or something in 04 through finals. So they're like, they would be A grade players, but they are cult heroes for like the way they went about it as well.
Yeah.
You know, like G Train got into a lot of fights. Fev is Fev, like TV personality, very extravagant. And then you got different players like maybe, I don't know, Armfield. Like you wouldn't say he's a gun. Even Lance Whitnell, would you say he was a gun?
Yeah, captain the club.
He was a gun? Okay.
Yeah.
Alan Tuvey, though? Probably not in that sort of...
So
there's tiers, right?
But yeah. You're right.
It's like they do... I don't know. They're like... They play their role so well, you know? They don't have to be the star, but they just deliver every week. And maybe it's unexpected, some of them. Like, that's the way I would see a cult hero, is you're kind of almost surprised that they pull out some amazing games. Maybe clutch moments.
Doesn't a cult hero... I thought a cult hero was like a battler, by definition. Like a battler that got the most out of themselves, that had some personality and some spunk, maybe a funky name, but not an A-grade first-round draft pick type situation. Like
True,
Fev was a really
Fev?
late selection. No, he was like a rookie pick, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
he wasn't like a high draft pick.
Yeah, and obviously G-Train was a gun backman / winger at West Coast, turned into freakishly good, scary, full forward, and still holds the bench press record of the AFL.
Like the Q stick, Quentin Lynch. That's a cult hero.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one. Yeah. Like, but what about
with the missing finger and the
missing? Yeah, and he'd always, and if he's 65 out, you knew he was going for it, and he was just crazy good from that far out. Even Adam Hunter for West Coast, when they won flags, he would be in that category, you know?
But Wooden Spoon Data says something pretty good. I think cult heroes generally don't get tons of recognition outside of their own club. That's a good little...
That's a good little nugget there, yeah.
One as well. Like you're right, the battlers.
Yeah, so who would there... Are there as many now as there were back then? Because like, if I think of the early 2000s and you watch every team, there's so many. Is it because it's time? Because time has passed that we can identify that? Do we have to wait for players to retire to really acknowledge their cult heroes? Or is it, can you say that during their career? Like, it was Fev a cult hero when he was playing, or is it because he was finished and then you can kind of look back and go, that's what he did. And he's kind of bigger than what he did because of his, his outside personality.
Yeah, I think when you think of Fev, you look at it in past tense. Like Dennis Armfield, you knew he was a cult hero, but only at the very, very end.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't always a cult hero. Only his last couple of seasons, it was like, oh, Dennis, like, look at him go.
Yeah.
Jake King was probably the same.
Yeah.
From Richmond at the end.
Yeah, the push-up king, yeah.
The push-up king.
Who else? See, these are all like 2000 to like 2012 or something we're thinking. Yeah. What about now? Or at least, like, if I look back a Saints team from say 6 years ago, I'm trying to think of who would be in that category, and I struggle to think of players of that sort of in that group that would fit into like a Stevie Baker, a G Train. Who would these players be?
So,
I
like,
think
if
from
Darragh Joyce, for example, is he still with St Kilda?
No, he's at Brisbane.
They're Brisbane now. Oh,
Yeah,
I
he
feel like
wouldn't
he
be.
fits the criteria if he was playing regular footy at St
If
Kilda and in their
yeah,
best
yeah.
crew and like that kind of
Yeah, so he's got that mold, but like at our current clubs now, who would you say, guys, like at
would
Carlton
you
and
say
Collingwood
like
could
someone like Maynard be a cult hero? Do you reckon?
he's a
Like
cult
I would
thug.
say Doug, yeah, cult thug, yeah, Doug hero.
yeah.
Or someone like even like Bo McCreary doesn't get a lot of
Yeah.
accolades outside of the club, but we absolutely love him and froth him and you know and what he sort of does. Even I don't know if Collingwood fans in the chat will agree, but I think Nathan Kruger is a bit of a cult hero. Doesn't play a lot of games, but if you've got a chant whenever you get the ball, you know what I mean? Like they go crew, you know, even like and your Cruiser as well is probably a bit of a cult hero. Or was a bit of a cult sort of hero.
Kruger, for sure, I was going to suggest would be in the box for what a cult hero represents.
Yeah.
What was Brody Myercheck? Like, what was he picked at or traded in? I can't remember
He was a rookie selection.
So he was a rookie too, and he's turned out to be this type of player.
Yeah,
Premiership
I think
player.
Billy Frampton, that's perfect. Isn't he
Billy
a cult
Frampton,
hero?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
that's it. That's cult hero. Frampton.
Yeah.
A battler wins a premiership.
Yeah, that's it. That's
like even
that's cult hero.
Zachy Dawson for us at full back. Almost
Cult
like
hero.
could be that sort of, you know, Hawthorn got rid of him, made fun of, and then he was a gun full back for us for 4 or 5 years in grand finals.
This is a cult hero.
Yeah,
Nick
that's a good
Geiger
one.
Kicked 4 snags in the 2013 elimination final, only moments after devouring a foot-long Subway, as the famous story goes. But
yeah, that's perfect. That one. Yeah.
Would always be a bit of a cult hero because I think no one appreciates him outside of the Blues, right?
I was going to suggest him.
Controversial opinion. I think always will become a really well-known and appreciated and respected player in the next 3 to 5 seasons now. I've always seen him as an ultimate pro. He just needed to learn the game because he came from the basketball background, and he's about to kick his 30th goal in the next few weeks if he just keeps going. And I genuinely think he's got like star small forward potential written all over him. I'm biased, obviously, but I've just seen the development every year. It's only 5% better, but those kind of guys after 8-9 years in the system, they become really good players. So I don't think he's a battler. That's it could be a cult hero because of the whole basketball background and the rookie B potentially, but I know I rate him.
Mason Wood, I think Glenn has suggested in the comments. That's not a bad one. He's got a chant. I guess at North he showed potential of being a very good player with a mixed bag of kind of inconsistency, and now he's turned out to be a very important player for us. That's not a bad shout for a current one.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
Mason Cox. Would Mason Cox be one?
Mason Cox is absolutely a cult hero.
Yeah, Mason Cox. Yeah.
Bringing the America vibes.
Cult hero. A Cox hero, if you will.
Oh boy.
I'm just trying to think of...
We do not will. That was shocking. Apologies for that, listeners.
People saying Sard. I don't reckon Sard's a cult hero, but he does have the wolf. So I guess if that's a bit of your what you sort of have as a cult hero, he could be.
I think he's a star though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So he's not really a cult hero because he is. Everyone around the football community loves him and loves what he does.
Acres,
but
don't mind that.
Acres. I think, but I think you're right. I think they're fewer and fewer at the moment. There's not. You feel like there's not really many more super big personalities because we've got a 24/7 media cycle here, and they just hound them. Like look at Tom Green. Like he got reprimanded for just speaking his mind on his own podcast.
Yeah, no, I didn't even mention my actual topic. I kind of just got sucked in there because it's so good to talk about. But mine was, does modern day football have room for genuine cult heroes now? And I think you're spot on there, Swoop, about the whole, like, they're a bit more micromanaged now. You know, they can't go rogue, and you like G-Train, some of his funniest moments now would get him 10 weeks suspended. You know what I mean? Like just a few little biffos. I remember him getting David Mundy and he pulling his hair and he gave away 450 meters in a row and it went from our goal square to Fremantle's goal square and they've kicked a goal. So like you couldn't do that now, right? You couldn't, but that's like a moment in time where you're like, yeah, that's part of why he is remembered in that way. But he was also a gun at the same time. But yeah, they've, You know, Wayne's put it there, taken the personality out of the game.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it comes and goes. I don't think it's gone.
No, I agree.
It comes and goes. Yeah, like I think we're going to see a wave of it now with the Hawks and Guinea. I don't know. I think it's still there. Like Jack Higgins came along a few years ago. I think that was a nice little spike in personality.
True. Yeah.
But
even now, he's kind of said he's taken a backseat on all that because he wants to.
Yeah, he's matured.
He wants to not be known just for being a larrikin. He wants to be a good footballer. So I appreciate that, and that comes with maturity too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Instead of just being excited to be known in the public eye. Rowan Marshall.
I feel like a lot of the cult heroes that we've just spoken about are forwards. I feel like that's got the majority of the pool. The flashy goal kickers seem to be mainly forwards, don't they?
Yeah, well, I mean, Whitnall, he was a forward, right? With Dev? Yeah. Obviously, G Train was. Daisy was mid forward. Didak obviously forward. Yeah, so I guess Heatley. Yeah. Hey?
Mitch Robinson, someone's just said.
Robinson, yep. Absolutely. Yeah, Reece Matheson. Yeah, that's a good one. Neon Leon? Yeah. Would you say he's a... Because he was a gun, really, wasn't he?
Like Sard argument. He's a star. Leon was a star, you know. So
in September.
Yeah.
I still remember that goal he kicked in 2010 in the draw in the last quarter, early in the last quarter, and that was the loudest I've ever heard the MCG. I was like, we're going to lose this game. Turns out we didn't. We just waited a week, but yeah, good memories.
Like a premiership medal, though.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's been on my mind. Just the big personalities. It just doesn't seem to jump out as much. And maybe like the Footy show, you know, back in the day with Sam Newman, that platform as well to go on there and be silly and kind of be yourself and not be monitored by media people and saying, hey, watch what you're saying, this and that. You don't have shows like that anymore that gets them out of just a general interview on AFL 360 or post-game, right? So we don't see that side of them. So there could be many G trains out there, but you're not going to know because they're not going to put themselves out there. Not as much, at least.
Nah, I 100% agree. But someone's just said Pommy, and I think he is the cult hero of AFL content YouTube.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I love that.
Ackermanis is a gun.
Yeah, but I think it's a good topic to bring up because especially in light of the Tom Green sort of stuff, they're like, let's have everyone needs a personality and let's showcase everything, and then it's like, wait a second, reel it in. It's like, what do you want them to do? You want all these access to players, but then they can't sort of speak there. And they're not saying, F this and F that and this was shit and this bat call was bad. It's just like, it's just their grievances, that they're sort of airing. Like, they just got to relax the chain and then we'll see it come out. And, I think Ginnivan's a good example of this, like the season before, when he had the GoPro out straight away. And then the next week, Kane Corns was just on his tail. You know what I mean? Like, and they're just trying to take out the personality, it seems.
The fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was my topic. So thanks for indulging me.
Nice. Luke?
Cool. So I'm going to go with a Pendles theme here. So Pendles, obviously 400 games, 6th ever player to sort of reach that mark. My, I guess, discussion point would be, do you think he's going to be the last player, or it's going to take a really long time for someone to reach 400 games again? He's been doing it he'll be 20 seasons or 20 years in the game next year. So he's been doing it for 19 seasons, 400 games. The quickest from debut to 400 games, he'll rack it up when he gets there. It's only been 6 in the, I think it was like 13,000 players that have played the game, or some crazy stat. And when I was looking at the all-time playing list at the moment, all these guys that are on around that 300 to 350 mark are all like only got a season or so left in them. Do you think anybody from your clubs that you're seeing right now could rack up 300? You could probably get there by 35, 36. But do you think there's any room for another 400 gamer?
I mean, I wish we drafted Cal Wilkie a little bit early because he hasn't missed a game since debut, and that is, how many games has he played? 128 games now in a row. And he's played 99.3% of game time in the last 2 seasons or something. So he's as durable as they come, but he is 28. So that's the major problem. He'd have to play, even if he played every game for the next, how many, 23 plus finals, he still probably wouldn't get there by like mid 30s or something. So I don't know. He'd be the one just because he hasn't missed one, but I don't think I don't even know who's the most games played for our team right now. I'd have to check that.
I think in general there'll be more players playing for longer the further into the future we go, because there's going to be less horrific collisions, advancements in medicine, advancements in sports science. So I think we'll see more and more players. I don't know about 400, but definitely 200, 250, 300. Had a few people in the chat mention Cripps and Ollie Hollands. Ollie Hollands is definitely, he started well. He's played a lot of games in his first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Cripps, he's playing 200. He's 29. It'd be tough. He'd have to keep going for a while.
Cripps has played 200.
He just played 200 a few weeks ago against the Dogs.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
I think Wiedering's up there. Actually, Wiedering's one that's could potentially do it, but Shees was a good shout as well.
Shees was a very good shout.
The young kids in the comp now, they're playing every game.
Nick Dacos, but isn't the plan with Nick Dacos like eventually he's going to be the inside midfielder at Collingwood? Isn't that what the pathway is, or is he going to continue to be kind of like the extractor? Is he going to become the extractor eventually?
I don't think so. I think that's what he wants to do, but I think he's better on the outside than he is on the inside. I don't think they're not going to waste his body when you've got players that can play that role anyway for them. But like I'm looking at the AFL tables now, like the next current active player close to Pendles or close to 400 is Travis Boak. He's on 364. But he's 35 years old. So he'd have to. Okay. So that's, that's what, 36 games away. So, he could play for 2 more years and sort of reach that. I don't know really much about him and if he's going on. But like all the players that are active and close to it, Tom Hawkins, Dangerfield, Goldstein, Sidey won't get there, Callan Ward, and then Dustin Martin's at 300. And 1. So it's a long way to go. But I think you're right, Terry, saying that the advancements in medicine and the way these players look after themselves now, all the education around them, it's even crazy to think that Michael Tuck and KB got to 400 with all the smokes and the beers that they were drinking pre and post game and probably at halftime as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you've got new facilities with clubs. Like I know the Carlton have our new facility, so the boys often go straight to the club after a game. We've got the ice bath, sauna, pool there. Pretty sure the Pies have something similar. And this RSCA Park, is there like a rehab? Is there something like that with like pools and saunas and stuff?
Danny Frawley Centre has all that.
Danny Frawley Centre, right? Yeah. So I think with all of these things, you'll see greater longevity.
Like our most games played on the list is Brad Hill at 251. He just signed another 2-year deal, I think. So he might get to that 300 at least. He's only 31 and he's super fit, rarely misses a game. I think someone said Mateus could do it. Julia mentioned that. I actually think he could. He's only 19 and he's played 35 games already. I think he could definitely do it.
Mm-hmm.
And just as a second parter, is Pendle's the greatest ever pie that you've seen play?
Oh, that's a great one.
I actually did have a follow-up question about this as well, but so
Yep.
remind me. But
No, I'm going to say no, Swoop.
Interesting.
I think Nathan Buckley was a better player.
Really? Okay.
When Bucks was up and about and he got the ball, I was terrified because he would always hit a target or he could launch a bomb from 60 at any point. He was the best kick I've seen.
Yes.
Best field kick outside of Robert Harvey that I've seen.
Yeah.
Bucks.
I think people forget how good he was.
They do, yeah.
Like, I actually think that sometimes he might almost be underrated outside of the Collingwood fan base. I think people didn't watch him enough to appreciate him, and I was like obviously a bit of a Collingwood supporter at that time, so I watched him up close, and he was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like people forget, like, longevity is amazing, but that doesn't mean you're the best player. Like, obviously he's an absolute class act and he is one of the best Collingwood players ever, but to say he's the best, would we be asking this question if he had only played 250 games and retired?
But I think that's the point. I think at some point the longevity means you're available for longer. So I think Buckley's best game compared to Pendlebury's best game, I would probably take Buckley's best game.
Yep.
If I had one game, it was a granny and I had to choose between one of their best games. And I'm not dissing Scott Pendlebury, but I'm just, for one game. But the fact is, how many games did Bucks play?
I think
he played, I've got it here. He played 260. Oh, 280, sorry.
280. So Pendle's is like, 120 more, which is about what? Nearly like 5 seasons.
It's about 5 or 6 seasons more. Yeah.
So like, at what point does the longevity matter and come into the equation?
Yeah.
I disagree with Chris. Just because Bucks doesn't have a flag doesn't make him the lesser player. I agree. Those arguments I can't stand. Like, I can't stand at all. Some people and that's the same when I talk to Brisbane people. They talk about Jonathan Brown and Nick Rewalt and who was the better player. Brown won flags, and they always go to the flags and say, well, he won flags and he's the better player. I'm like, I don't think that's the real argument here, It's not about the individual individual accolades I get, but the team accolades, that's different. That's just the right time, right place. Playing a good team. It's a whole team.
Luke, what is Scott Pendlebury's best game? And Collingwood supporters in the chat, what is the best game that Scott Pendlebury played, like the standout?
It's fucking 19 seasons worth. I know it's recency bias, and it depends because, like, to me, he's not his game, but his last quarter of that grand final, what he did, that was his best quarter in 399 games. How he orchestrated us to set up, us to move. He was the coach on field, knew exactly what he was doing, and we don't win that game without him in that. But his best game, there was a game in 2017, I think it was round 1 against the Doggies, where he was just on, I'd have to get the stats up, but it was an absolute fire. And that was just like a 2017 game. So we weren't even, that was when we were like terrible. I wouldn't, 2010 prelim, Kev said, 2010 grand final. Yeah, he won the Norm Smith in the replay. So I guess the tidbit for that one is going into the first grand final, he had gastro, lost 6 kilos in the lead up to that grand final, and had a terrible grand final. Like, not terrible, but didn't have a good grand final, and then obviously made up for it the next week with the Norm Smith. So if you're going off that, getting a Norm Smith in a grand final would be your best game. But there was that Western Bulldogs game. There's just too many. Like, my memory is bad enough as it is. So recency bias would say that Collingwood, the 2023 grand final, he just, kicking his first goal after, people forget that he's played in 5 grand finals. And that was his first goal last year in that third quarter. So that will always be remembered, not as his greatest game, but probably as his most IQ best game.
So would you say that you would rank him higher than Buckley as a Collingwood supporter? I've got their individual accolades here. But I'm asking just as your gut.
Yeah, as a gut feel, I would, but that's also because I grew up with Pendle. So Pendle's got drafted when I was in year 7. So I've grown up watching him for 20 years. And I only got a bit of Buckley. And that's, and people in 10 years' time are going to say Nick Dacos is the best Collingwood, or someone else is the best Collingwood player ever. And they've never seen Buckley play. So, but for me, I think Pendles is the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think many people would disagree with that.
Yeah.
Bucks.
Yeah.
Fucking
But,
love
yeah, Bucks. Like 7. I mean, their career highlights are pretty similar outside of, obviously Pendles with the 2 flags, but Bucks has got the Brownlow, the Norm Smith, 7-time All-Australian, 6-time Copeland Trophy.
7-time All-Australian?
96, 97, 98, 99, 2001, and 3.
Fuck,
He nearly did it 7
row.
years. He nearly did it full 7 years in a row. It's crazy. Copeland medal, 94, 96, 98, 99, 2000, 2003, when he won the Brownlow, obviously. Pendles, he's got 6-time All-Australian, 5-time Copeland. So very, 3-time Anzac Day medal. Bob Rose Trophy, Bucks has got that. And he was captain for 8 years, and Pendles has been captain for about 9 years. So pretty close there when you look at it.
Yeah, so much record. And I think Pendles has finished on the podium, so top 3 in the Copeland 12 or something, like a dozen or so times as well. So which is a feat in and of itself as well, which is crazy when you sort of think about that he's been the top 3 player for nearly 3/4 of his Collingwood life as well.
Chris is asking, get Chris's comment up if you can. This is an interesting one. So you're saying winning a premiership isn't a way to track I think premierships are a reflection of the club, but it's not a reflection of the player. What do they play for? They play for flags. Obviously, ask Nick Riewoldt, ask Nathan Buckley, Robert Harvey. There are so many greats that have never won it. But if you think they're any less because of it, I think you're misunderstanding.
If you lead your team in finals and you lead a team on grand final day, I mean, Dusty's a great player. The flags help, but I think the Norm Smiths and winning 3 of them, doing it on the biggest stage of all, last day of them all, I think helps sway opinion. Pendles is a Norm Smith medalist. I think that's a significant piece of argument there. He not only
Buckley
did
in
it,
02 as well.
Buckley was a Norm Smith medalist. Yep. So, your ability to perform on the big stage is a big factor too.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It's an interesting conversation because, like you said, Jake, the premiership is such a team thing as well. So you have to be right place, right time, a little bit of luck. We'll be talking about Bont as a Hall of Famer soon, and he's only won 1 flag. You know what I mean?
And no Brownlow.
No Brownlow. Yeah.
So I individual accolades, I kind of put that aside. It's more than that. And maybe this is a topic for another week, when it's team accolades, individual accolades, and having these discussions. But I mean, some people will say I'm a Saints fan, so obviously flags isn't the most important thing, but obviously they are. Yeah. Just because I haven't experienced one doesn't mean I don't value that over anything else. But I don't think that separates 2 players. Like Nick Riewoldt, Brown. If I ask someone on the street, guarantee you the first thing they would say is, well, Jonathan Brown won some flags, so he must be the better player. It's I think Nick Riewoldt's best was better, and Jonathan Brown was exceptional as well and got injured more because he put himself in the firing line with some incredible moments and sometimes silly attempts at marks that ended his career. But people will always bring up the flags, and I think that's just a shortcut.
So Riewoldt was better than Brown?
I would say that he was. I mean, it's a similar sort of discussion with Pendles, right? Because Riewoldt his longevity was there. Brown's wasn't. His career ended abruptly because he tried to take some outrageous marks and got concussed, right? Maybe Brown had some runs in, I can't remember which year it was, but he had a 5 or 6 week patch where he kicked 4 or 5 a week, and he was going to kick 100 that year or something, and then again. Concussed, that didn't play for the rest of the year, but Riewoldt would just deliver every single week. His standards were so high. So it's hard to separate the two, but that's probably why people lean on flags to decide that discussion, because if you don't, then it's a draw, really. They're both
Yeah.
they're two of the best centre half forwards to ever play.
100%.
That's what I would say. But are people? I feel like people are too obsessed with who's the better player, like Dacos and Sheasel. It's like we have to pick one. It's like, why can't I'm just going to sit back and go, you know what? They're two guns. They're going to be great. I can't wait to watch them develop. And we're going to have our own. Every team's got a couple they can enjoy, but we're always obsessed with like, no, but he's better, but he's got more contested ball, but he kicks more goals. It's like, just chill for a sec. Like, they're good players. Just enjoy it.
It's like the Sooks that will complain about Charlie Curnow's free kicks, which, mind you, he doesn't get as many free kicks as he should. And every single person who thinks about complaining about Charlie Curnow earning a free kick would have Charlie Curnow in their side.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
A heartbeat.
That's the end of discussion, isn't it? It's like, but
Correct.
would you want him in your team? Yes, I would. Well, then shut up. Like,
Correct.
that's
exactly.
who would
DMR, I'm looking at you, brother.
Who's that?
DMR.
Where is he?
He's here.
There we go.
Hey. Yeah.
Was that? Yeah, nah. It's,
That was perfect timing by you bringing that up.
Yeah, people love to complain, mate.
Yep.
That was good.
So, very good. Okay. So
Yes.
my topic is around risk and reward. It's been a theme that I have had on the Blue or Broad channel this week, and embracing fear. And I found this clip on YouTube this week. It's a scene from The Dark Knight Rises, and I just felt it spoke to me about Carlton and, you know, the
Is it
scene
Bane?
of. No, it's where Bruce Wayne's in the pit, and he's got the rope.
Oh,
he's trying
yeah.
to
Great
climb
one.
out.
Great scene.
Yep.
And, you know, the message is, you know, you can't climb out of the pit with the rope. Like, you have to embrace the fear, because the rope is the safety net. And I felt that our top two spot was the safety net. And so we were playing, but we weren't playing with this dare and desire, and kind of got me thinking. And I would love to learn with you know, your audiences that are watching, and go around with the two of you as well. When is a time in your life when you actually took that leap of faith without having the safety net, and just like took the leap of faith? I mean, obviously our channels will probably be the first thing that comes to mind, but is there anything else in your life where you've taken that risk in your life, and you've not known whether something's going to work, and you've just done it? So I'll ask the two of you, and those of you in the chat as well, when have you taken an actual leap of faith in your life with no safety net?
Wow, that's a great.
That's a good question.
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind for me is like a personal thing, but like I won't go into the details. But it's more or less like you're friends with someone for a very long time, and maybe they've done or said something, and you want to bring it up with them instead of kind of sweeping it under the rug because of the friendship, to protect the friendship. But this thing is too high value and it's too important to me. So you're kind of putting the friendship almost on the line, because if you just kind of let things be, they kind of fester. So you want to have the tough conversation. Either makes or breaks a friendship, right? Mm-hmm. So that's me being a bit personal, but that's kind of the first thing that comes to mind for me. That's a leap of faith, because if it doesn't land, you lose a friend, right? But if it does, they understand you, and you can actually grow from it and become a better person. That's kind of more of my philosophical answer. I'll try and think of like maybe a less deep one, but that's kind of the first thing that pops into my
The
head.
deeper, the better.
That's what they say.
Fucking hell.
See, like Maz, marrying my husband on a Greek island after only knowing him for 38 days. That
There you
is
go.
what I'm
That's a
talking
leap of
about.
faith.
I mean, wouldn't barracking for St Kilda be a leap of faith? Like the ultimate leap of faith with no safety net? That's free fall, right?
Yeah, that's freaking free fall.
Julia tackling the girl's best player. We'll get to a few more of these. Luke, what do you got?
So I guess my leap of faith came about 4 months ago. So you guys know I don't really broadcast my sort of personal life on any of my socials or anything. So 4 months ago, I was in a relationship with a girlfriend. We were living together, and we were going to buy a house together. So we had a loan ready to go. I put my house on the market and was ready to sell. We split up, and I could have just sort of stayed in my shell, and take the house off the market, stay where I was. But I decided to just sell the property, get out of the area that I was in. So I took a leap of faith on the property market just in general. And I knew that, look, I guess the safety net was that I sort of moved back in with my parents, but even that, as a 32-year-old, freshly single guy moving, back in with mum and dad, it's a big leap of faith. I like to plan everything out, especially my life. So this was just ripped up everything. So everything that I was working on this year, all the goals that I had set, were sort of just thrown out of the car window pretty much. And yeah, so now I'm back in my childhood bedroom. And I guess, yeah, that was just a big leap of faith in myself, in sort of navigating new feelings, new emotions, going back to therapy. So yeah, that was really big. And it's a long process, and I'm still getting used to it. But yeah, I guess that was the biggest leap that I've had in the last few years, definitely.
Wow. Love that. Love that. Bryn moved to the States for uni without a job or a place to live with less than $1,000 in the bank.
Damn.
Wow. I love it.
Yeah.
Chris became a dad for the first time, was scared, didn't know how to be a dad. Love that. Jack as well. Decided to have my first child with my wife. Terrifying but rewarding beyond explanation.
Children are just terrifying. That's
I moved to another country where I didn't speak the language to start. A woman I hadn't seen in for over 1.5 years, lasted about a year. Now I speak French.
Yeah, hey,
wow.
How good's that? How good's that?
Wow. Richard, my car broke down at the top of Punt Road Hill in the pouring rain. It wouldn't start. Cars and buses beeping me. I took a leap of faith and took the handbrake off and booted down the hill.
Oh my God.
Living a job I wasn't happy in. Yeah, these are big ones.
Don't have anything like that.
Teresa moved to Darwin after hating the city life. Didn't know anyone to have accommodation, but stayed there for 3 years. Yeah. I would say
it's change, isn't it? That's the big
change,
overarching answer there.
I quit my job as a lawyer after 3.5 years to go and jump on a plane in 2 weeks and teach English for 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So I would say that. But I guess the safety net was I had a job. I went to China knowing I had paid work. So it was probably when I moved to Israel, because I moved with my ex-girlfriend. She had a job. I didn't. So I had no job and I had to find a job. And every day that ticked on without a job was one day closer to me having to come back home. Really difficult to find work there. And I think that was probably the biggest, the craziest thing I did with absolutely no repercussions. Didn't know it was going to happen, but you have no choice. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to find a way to make it work. So I would probably say they're the ones. Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. Again, changing, going to another country, a foreign country is insane. Learning the language again. And, that's crazy. But rewarding.
Slow-mo.
Oh, love that. Good job, man.
On your Slovo.
Oh, very good. Oh, it's so good. Anthony Cavalli, nothing serious, but I took a leap of faith and bought tickets to this upcoming Carlton Collingwood game. Hopefully it pays off. That's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. Okay, so yeah, that was what I wanted to ask. I wanted to know a little bit more about you guys, and how much you're willing to embrace the unknown and the fear. And I was basically imploring our fan base and our players to embrace the fear. You have to feel, and that's why I think Collingwood will be dangerous this week, because You lose, it's actually mathematically done for the year. So you get that. There's nobody more desperate than someone that's like you're going to get their last gasp before the end of their season.
Yeah.
So-
I don't think you can't grow as a person if you don't embrace fear. Like it's impossible. Because then you keep yourself in your shell. You're in your shell, you're in the comfort of your world, and it's scary once you get out of that.
Jake, a little bit of love here from a fan named Julia.
Thank you, Julia.
Inspire me every day. I'm a better person because of you, and your advice is always something I'll never forget. From the bottom, Jake, thank you. Bless.
Oh, thank you for the comment.
Where's my advice, Jake? I thought you loved me.
Mate, in time.
Yeah.
Patience. There's fear and there's patience, and you got to embrace both.
All right. So that's that. Should we talk about some, I don't know, locks of the week or something?
Well, that was going to be my other leap of faith, is tipping the Saints against the Lions. Speaking of leaps of faith, I'm backing my boys again.
Share the screen, and I'm going to bring up the ladder. And I'm going to bring up.
We should keep a track record. We should have kept a tally of how many how many locks we've gotten right between us for the year. Have to go back and check.
So what was your lock of the week, Jake? Sorry.
All right. So I'll just put my bias aside. Let's look at this. Dogs, Melbourne, Eagles, Suns. The Suns have got to be careful. The Eagles at home are a different beast. That's going to be interesting. Ooh, lock of the week. Damn, there's some good games there. This is one of the better rounds.
That Bulldogs Melbourne game to kick off the round is going to be fucking huge, especially with Melbourne getting 15,000 to a nice Saturday night game.
I think the Bulldogs will pants them, to be honest.
As a lock?
I think the Bulldogs will pants them. It'll be upwards of... I'll go my lock is the Dogs by 30 plus. Melbourne are done. And the Dogs are flying. What's the weather, though? I mean, unless it's pissing down and then it's kind of different. It's at Marvel. Oh, well, the Dogs are going to feast.
Yeah. I'm going to go next because the Bombers I guarantee it.
Oh, he's backing them against the Dockers.
Hear me out.
I heard you out last week.
Well, I went a week early and they got the Carlton v Essendon post-game scenes. There's something about hitting rock bottom. And I mean rock bottom. I think we just lost Luke.
Yeah, he had enough.
He's getting a call. He's getting a call. So, yeah, I think the Bombers have hit, like, that is rock bottom. Your supporters are screaming at you. It's a lonely place. It's dark. It's, you're being told that you're shit. Your fans hate you. There's nowhere else to go but up. So, and I mean, coming from Carlton, our turnaround happened after we had that moment. So
this is going to be the ultimate. I mean, from an Essendon fan base, from what I saw on the weekend, if they don't win this game, it could get ugly. It could get very ugly.
It was ugly, no?
No, but I mean, this could genuinely be like, proper like membership videos getting cut in half and this sort of thing.
But like, it was, no? Like, that's what was happening.
It was more like, the guy threw a scarf on the ground and they yelled at the players as they went down the race?
No, and they were throwing their scarves. Like, it was this, it was like...
Oh, they did the whole thing. Okay.
Yeah. It was the whole scene. It was the whole lot.
Well, I imagine that, but worse if they lose this one.
Okay. So I'm going to go the
Free
Bombers.
or flying, mate. Free or flying.
Yep. So this stuff runs out when you know.
All right, what else we got? Eagles, Suns. I mean, that one, I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles actually got up.
Really?
I mean, they're at home, right?
The Suns have never won away this year.
And the Eagles played at home a few weeks ago and took Brisbane to 13 points and kicked 90 odd. So they'll be up for it.
Should we tip them?
Yep.
All right.
Let's go.
North to beat Richmond?
Oh. Yeah, North's form's been great. They deserve it at the very least. They deserve that win. They should be expecting it.
Adelaide?
GMHBA. Geelong. As much as I hate it. Crows are. But Crows got pants by Hawks. They're not going to bounce back after that.
Jake, Carlton or Collingwood?
Where's Swoop? Skip that one. We'll leave that one last.
Nah. You
Skip
have to
it.
answer it because we're biased, so we can't do it.
It's a hard.
You have to get it right.
There's no pressure. You get Mackay back.
Mackay's back. Akers is back. Jordan Boyd is back.
But it's Pendle's
Jack Martin
400th.
might be back as well.
But it's Pendle's 400th.
Mm-hmm.
Not that milestones automatically make teams win and play better, but look at Richmond. They didn't get up for Dusty's 300th.
Carlton couldn't get up for Cripps' 200th.
I think we lost in their Robert Harvey's a record-breaking game, I think, and to the Cats, I remember. And
I think the focus goes too much onto an individual and not on the process of winning the game. Because you want it so bad. You want the focus on the outcome so much.
And both teams were not convincing at all in the last round. Richmond weren't great. Collingwood did what they needed to do. It's Motlop's 36th. That's a big call too. They'll be up for it, no doubt. Perfect timing. I detoured perfectly.
Luke, Jake has to tip the game between Carlton and Collingwood. We can't tip it.
Oh, okay. Go, Jake. Who do you love more, me or Terry?
No. It's not about that. He has to get it right. I almost want to put a wager on it of some sort. Some sort of you have to get it right. Who would you pick?
I'm gonna pick Carlton.
Wow.
Screw it. Back. No. Yeah.
No, you went with Carlton. Yeah,
that's my gut feel. I think the fact that it's Pendle's 400th will actually fire up Carlton as much as Collingwood. I think being like us, Ross has kind of said he's the Grinch. We're here to kind of ruin some parties. I think that's exactly the mentality Carlton will go into this. And there's no better way to start building form into finals than to beat your rival. It's going to be huge.
I will come back to Luke. I have a question to ask about the Carlton-Collingwood game in a moment. Port Adelaide, Sydney at Adelaide Oval. You guys are not Port Adelaide believers, and you believe that they're pretenders. So what about this week?
They got Swans at the right time.
No, I think Swannies.
Swannies?
Yeah, they have to go.
Oh yeah, we'll go.
So Port playing for their life, Swans playing just to keep top spot. In fact, they would still keep top spot with a loss.
Mm.
Oh yeah, I did pick Collingwood on my video, didn't I? Yesterday. someone watched.
This is what I'm talking about. No,
I completely forgot I did. Option. I never do it in my Monday videos, and we got to the tipping, and I usually just go through who's gotten the most this week and if they get a prize. And then I was like, screw it, let's just do the tips. And they've reminded me I did tip Collingwood.
Yeah, that'd be about right. I would tip Port. Swoop, you would tip Sydney. So Jake,
I would tip Port.
Port?
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Opa.
Into the top
Giants, Hawks.
Oh, what a game.
That's got to be
Can Hawks seriously continue this momentum? They don't look like stopping. And you know what will be equally as impressive? Because who'd they play last week before they pantsed Adelaide?
Us. Collingwood.
Oh, right. Yeah. So they've had some big games. This is another away game. So that's going to be interesting.
I think the Giants here, man. I don't know why. I think the Giants.
I actually think Hawthorn's momentum is way too strong. Okay. I think they're absolutely flying.
Yeah.
So
Damien's right. GWS rarely losing Canberra.
Okay.
They love that place.
2-1. And then the Saints and the Lions. I will be kicking home the Saints from the first bounce, mate. I will be screaming and shouting for the Saints, mate. So
we couldn't be playing them at a better time. I know they're in very good form.
You got a lot of momentum.
I don't think they were that good against the Suns. They did what they needed to do without being amazing. But our last 2 weeks have been absolutely flawless. And I mean, I'm very excited for the challenge. I want to be playing these teams. I can't wait to play Brisbane, Geelong, and Carlton, to be honest, in the next 4 weeks.
So we're tipping the Saints.
What do you think, Terry?
I'm going to tip the Saints, but it's more about what I want. I think the Lions are. I think the Lions are going to win, but I'm going to tip the Saints anyway.
So the only away team that's being tipped is Carlton, and it's at the G anyway.
No, it doesn't really count.
Yeah. Wow, every home team is going to win. Has that ever happened this round, like this year?
Surely.
Every home team almost. Out of all the teams that could win from away, you'd think Hawthorn and Freo are the main two.
Bombers. I wasn't here for the Bombers Fremantle. That's huge.
Oh, that's my lock of the week. So the reason was because they've had their Carlton 2023 moment, and there's nowhere else to go but up. Your supporters screamed at you going down the race. It's like the darkest, that's the most awful, harrowing way to leave the field when your supporters are screaming at you, calling you shit, and they're hating on you and all of that.
They did at the same time last year, and they didn't respond. So who's to say they're magically going to change that behavior now, a year on?
Did they do it last year?
They were in the top 8, and then they lost the last 3 and nearly lost by 100 points to the Giants. Do you remember that? They got absolutely destroyed, and Hogan kicked like 10.
You're right.
This is the run that they're talking about, mate.
If they can't do it this year, I fear for them. Men, I don't really care, but they got to do it. They have to do it.
0 hard ball gets in the third quarter. I think 18 minutes into the third quarter, Cooper Sharman had more uncontested marks in that quarter than the entire Essendon team.
Yeah, wow.
That's ridiculous.
Wow.
How much heart do you have to lose before we stop having faith in teams? That was abysmal, their performance last week. And again, we talked earlier about teams backs against the wall, fighting for that 8th position, the hardest position in footy at the moment. And the Bombers with a draw, that helps them to draw almost. But now they've got the worst percentage. Not that they still got the draw, so it doesn't really matter. But I think Fremantle are just too good at the moment. They're a real dark horse, Freo.
Yeah,
I love what they're from really boring football at the start of the year. I've really loved what they've been able to generate.
Yeah, under the roof.
So I had a question, Luke, about our big matchup Saturday night, right? Is there an expectation that no matter what happens on Saturday night, if you win, your fans will always stay, right? Of course. In the event that you're losing, would you be disappointed if fans left before they cheered off Pendles after the game, even if you were losing?
I'll tell you right now, if we're losing by whatever it is, 10, 20, 30, 40 points, and I see fans leave, I don't get up in arms about that sort of stuff too much, because it's your decision, you can do what you want. But if I see fans leaving before Pendles gets chaired off, I'll make the most blastful video that I've ever made on a Swoop channel, and I will go absolutely fucking crazy, because you don't want to stay when Carlton are singing that fucking song, obviously, right? But you have to stay for a champion of not only your club, but of the game itself, a future Hall of Famer. And if you're not staying, if you leave early and you don't stay for that, there should be Collingwood membership fucking security guards out the front, and you just give them your membership, because we don't want you a part of this club.
Yeah, I'll stay for Pendles getting chaired off.
You know what I mean? And I bet you as well, if Carlton supporters, if Carlton are losing, Carlton supporters will stay. I feel like they will stay this week because of the call out from last week and what happened. I feel like they will stay, and it's Pendles, and it's as if you're not going to stay for Motlop's 36th game. That's huge. You know what I mean? You have to.
Yeah, no, because there was a mass exodus when Burn Jones maybe kicks the goal that was reviewed because he hit the goal umpire's foot, I think it was. So we're down 14 points with 3 minutes 34 to go, and it looked dead. We'd kick one goal in the half, but the mass exodus, and I turned around to my sister and my brother. I'm like, "The fuck's going on?" Like, okay, like it was a poor half, but. Really? Like, is this us? We're, and the energy in the entire stadium completely sapped, and it was just dead. And I think it's a bit petulant, personally. Of course, you can't tell people what to do. I would love to know how many of those same people that left criticized the team for not putting in an effort. So I would be furious if we're down by 14 points with 3 minutes to go this week against Collingwood and fans leave. Furious.
And also, just in regard to that, how many times have we seen over the last 3 seasons teams coming back from 14, like we did? We do it all the time. Like teams coming back from that margin with 3.5 minutes to go. 3.5 minutes is a lifetime in football because of the 6-6-6 rule. Like that helps so much. But even it's like leaving the soccer in the 89th minute and then your team scoring in the 92nd over. Do you know what I mean? Like it just, my rule of thumb is. And I think it's something that dad drilled into me. It's just stay till the end. Doesn't matter if you're losing by 80, by 60, by 1 point.
See it out.
You stay till the end. You have, and it's kind of like the fear thing, right? You hear that the song. I heard the Hawthorn song two times when we lost by 66 points in the rain. I just let it fester inside me, and I let it get me angry. Sick. You know what I mean?
That's sickening.
Yeah.
That's psychotic. I kind of rate it.
It's all in the head, man. It's all in the fucking head.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm interested in that. That's Footy Abroad, episode 16. Ladies and gents, thanks for tuning in. Anything else we need to touch on? Oh, fresh. How you holding up, Luke? Fresh allegations at the Pies.
Yeah,
what happened?
Oh, I really don't know. I only saw it towards the end of like my work day that I sort of caught up on it. Fresh racism allegations. Like, the club came out, put out a statement and said they went through internal investigators, external investigators, Victoria Police. They went through all the right channels and none of it was proven true. And now it's going through Fair Work. So it's, everything like this has to be taken super fucking seriously because, with everything that Collingwood's done in the past and with their sort of do better report.
I think we lost Luke.
The absolute worst time for my internet to fucking cut out. Everything that Collingwood's done in the past, it has to be taken seriously. And the allegations are so serious. And I was reading the article. I don't know if you guys have read it, but it made me feel like I didn't want to finish it. It made me feel absolutely sick to my stomach. And if anything is proven to be true, Craig Kelly has to go. But again, we'll find out. I think the court case is sometime in August. So we'll find out. We'll find out then. It's you got to sort of, I don't know, believe the club with their statement. If they've already done all those investigations, like what can you sort of say? We're not privy to it. It's just it's a shame. It really if it is proven to be true, it's disappointing. Like when you're not mad, you're disappointed. That's what it Yeah.
Well, that's right. You're innocent until proven guilty. That's
you need to.
That is true. They are allegations that were made in the federal court, but they still need to be proven. So anyway, Julia, to answer your question, no, I won't be at Marvel Stadium on Sunday to watch the Saints play, but I'll be cheering them from home.
I think she meant round 24.
Oh, round 24
against the Blues. Yeah,
mate. I'll be there with bells
on.
Of
course I'll be there. Yeah.
I'll absolutely be there, mate. Watch the Saints in their granny,
Well, we've got a few grannies. We've got a few grannies in the lead up, so we'll be warmed up for it.
You are chomping at the bit for round 24. Don't lie.
We'll see. We'll see how our form goes in the next 3 weeks. and then
Yeah,
I'll know.
you know the Saints always get up for Carlton. We all know this.
Who doesn't get up for Carlton, honestly, mate?
Yeah.
Who doesn't get up for
Well,
Collingwood, Carlton, Essendon games? We've beaten Collingwood and Essendon. It'd be nice to beat the big three in 1 year. I'd love that.
Oh, we're the big three. Carlton are in the big. We're viewed as that in that light. It's great.
I mean, Essendon, I'm being kind, but yeah, you two definitely the two big Victorian clubs.
Tim Membry kick 6. I'll guarantee that already.
Absolutely.
Loves playing Carlton. Loves Carlton.
Yeah.
Oh dear. All right,
Cam-
lads.
and-
All right, everyone.
Big weekend. Enjoy,
It is.
guys.
Good
See
luck
you
to your
next week.
teams.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Go Blues.
See ya.
Go Saints. See ya.